FCSSports.com, where football makes sense. I'm Emery Hunt, the czar of the playbook. Bring you our College Sports Journal Game of the Week preview between the Jackson State Tigers and the Southern Jaguars. Now let's take a look at some keys to victory for both teams, starting with the Tigers.
The Tigers are not that far off. They are a few plays away from being undisputed despite the Week 1 loss versus Tulane. The offense just needs to not shoot itself in the foot, especially this week versus Southern on the road. Drive-killing penalties and turnovers have doomed the Tigers so far this season. Now, defensively, they are very sound, and this week versus Southern, there's going to be ample opportunity to put pressure on Dre Joseph in that passing game. The battle up front is where the Tigers, I believe, have the advantage, and I think they can win that matchup in the trenches. Now let's move over to Southern in this ballgame, who are on a 2-game winning streak, riding the right arm of sensational quarterback Dre Joseph, who has done a fabulous job all season long. But the Jaguars' offensive line has to pick up the pace this week. They are struggling in pass protection as well as creating lanes in the running game. Now defensively, you want Jackson State to make plays downfield throwing the football, so the defensive backs have to be able to make those one-on-one tackles in space and also have to do a better job communicating on the back end as a whole. Now here are some coaching points for both teams in this ball game. For Jackson State, you can't beat yourself. Those bonehead penalties and turnovers will doom you each and every week. Tie up your loose ends, you can win the ball game. And you also want to maximize your possessions. You want to own the TOP, march that football up and down the field against Southern, and come away with points, whether it be 3 or 7. You're going to need points to beat the Southern Jaguars at home. And you want to turn up the heat versus that Jags offensive line. I think, again, the front seven of Jackson State is very good. I think they can put a lot of pressure on what Southern wants to do offensively. Now for the Jaguars in this ball game, you have to win on first down defensively in order to put that Tigers offense in backed up situations, and you have to generate pressure. That's the one thing Southern has problems with so far this season, is getting to the quarterback, and that offensive line definitely must avoid leakage, and that has been a real detriment to the running game, and also keeping Dre Joseph under constant pressure. That has to change this week versus a SWAC opponent in Jackson State. The X factor for Jackson State will be the quarterback play. You look at Clayton Moore back there as the signal caller. He definitely has the talent, but the consistency has to be there from game to game. And if he can do that, Jackson State has an excellent chance to win this matchup. The X factor for Southern will be their defensive line pressure. Can they create pressure versus the pass? If they can't, Jackson State will have a field day throwing the football versus the secondary. Here are some 2014 draft prospects you want to look out for in this ball game. You look at Jackson State's cornerback Qua Cox, an outstanding player regardless of division. 6 foot, 185-pound senior. Keep an eye on him moving forward. An inside linebacker, Todd Wilcher, is a guy that has been a starter since his redshirt freshman year. Very good on the inside, 6'1", 230. Now for Southern, you look at their quarterback Dre Joseph. If you haven't seen him play, watch him. If you like Taj Boyd, you'll love Dre Joseph, same type of player. And DeAndre Woodland is a junior, but already has proven to be one of the top corners in the SWAC. Before he was a legend at the National Football League level, he was a legend in college football. Walter Payton from 1971 to 1974 was a 2-time first-team All-American and finished his Jackson State career with over 3,500 yards rushing and 65 rushing touchdowns, a 4-year starter that still owns 9 school rushing records. Another outstanding player coming out of the SWAC came from Southern University, and that's Mel Blount, one of the best cornerbacks in NFL history, a guy that was 6'3", 200 pounds, and was a consensus All-American throughout the course of his career at Southern from 1966 to 1969. And here's a guy that excelled at both safety and cornerback. I like Southern in this ball game. I think last week what we saw versus Mississippi Valley is what we're going to see this week from their defense. I think they'll rise to the occasion versus Jackson State, and I know Dre Joseph will protect the football, as I can trust him to avoid the bad play or putting this offense or this team in a bad situation. So I like Southern to take care of business at home versus their conference rival, Jackson State.